Hey guys, welcome to Taste This TV. I'm Chef Joe Seminary. Today we are going to do baklava. That's right, you've heard it, baklava. Many people have had it, whether it be in a diner or a fancy Mediterranean restaurant or just in the home of friends and family from Greece. This is a dessert that is just delicious. And it's made with Athens phyllo dough. If you know anything about this product, folks, you won't want to work with anything else but this, because hands down this is going to make your dessert a classic memory, last for a lifetime. So Athens phyllo dough, check them out. And the baklava, you know, I do a couple of things different from my baklava than you might see out there. Technique, I like to have some walnuts that are whole pieces as well. I don't like necessarily everything sort of small and minced up. And then I do something with the zest. I use lemon zest, I use orange zest. I use the outside. Some people use the juice. I don't use the juice until the very end. So there's two phases of the baklava. And I've had it many ways all over the world, and I can tell you that there is a way where it's just overly too sweet. I mean, baklava is supposed to be sweet, but man, it could be just like you can't even finish it. You know, a couple of spoonsful, and my stomach couldn't take that. But I make it where it's tolerable. You could have a whole piece. And if you wanted to get daring and put an a la mode on the side, you can do that too. This stuff is really versatile. We're going to be working with this. We're going to talk about how many sheets I put down on the bottom, how many sheets I put down the middle, which is important. We only use butter for this recipe. I use unsalted butter. And I think that the whole technique here is really going to have you making baklava my way. So I'm going to hopefully move you on to my side of the world. And the thing is about sugar too is, you know, many recipes, I've seen many chefs use this, they've always put like syrup in their walnuts, they put, you know, granulated sugar. I actually put 10x sugar because I think the 10x sugar really absorbs and sticks to the walnut a lot better. And I think you can coat it a lot better because it's a fine powder as opposed to crystals. So there's just a couple of things that I do different with my baklava that hopefully you'll be able to pick up. So real simple, folks. You know, we got some walnuts here, we got orange zest, lemon zest, we got cinnamon, salt, sugar, and it's basically like, you know, 4 or 5 ingredients. I don't go crazy. We're not reinventing the wheel here. I'm just taking what works and making it into the baklava. So why don't we dive into it a little bit? Let's get close with some chopping, some taking these walnuts. We're going to be putting them in a blender, which actually you're going to need like a food processor for this dish. So hopefully you'll take heed to some of these ingredients here and really start to mold it into your baklava, my friends. And so let's get started. Okay, so now we're going to get started on one of my favorite Mediterranean desserts, and that is baklava. Now baklava can only be made with a stellar phyllo dough, and today we're going to be using Athens. That's right, this is definitely the phyllo dough of choice. I don't use any of this, and the preparation of this is real simple. It comes to you frozen. So what you'll do is just basically open the back. You'll find 2 rolls, right? We only need 1 for this. And with the knife, you're just going to gently slice the side of it, and this just rolls out. A lot of times I get it like a damp cloth, and whenever I'm not using the product, you know, I'll just basically put a damp cloth over it so it doesn't become crispy or flaky anyway. But I gotta be honest with you, I usually make this so fast that it never gets that way. So right now we're just gonna roll it, leave it on the cutting board. We're gonna take our walnuts here, which is definitely main thing for this dish. And you got a food processor here. You can use any type of food processor. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the nut inside the food processor. I like to have a mixture of really small and big walnuts in there, because I think it really, you know, a lot of times I have it and the walnuts are like too small, but I like to taste the walnuts in the baklava. I think it's very important. So we're just going to fit all of our walnuts here. We're almost there. And that's about kind of where you want it to be. You know, you don't want to go to a fine dust or anything like that. So we're going to take our walnuts, walk back over to the bowl. And in our bowl, we're going to throw our walnuts in. It helps the oils get released from the walnuts, and that's going to help the ingredients that we're going to throw in here stick together as well, which we're going to do momentarily. All right, now, we got the 3 ingredients that go in my baklava: sugar, salt, and cinnamon. Let me just talk to you about the sugar that I use. A lot of people use honey sometimes and granulated sugar. I do not. I use 10x confectionery sugar because I feel like it coats the walnuts a hell of a lot better. And don't forget to add extra cinnamon because that's what the dish recalls. We're going to do some lemon zest. This is a microplane. Watch your fingers. And we're just going to get the outside of this orange, as you see here. I'd say scrape and turn, scrape and turn, scrape and turn. So you go all the way around. We're also going to do this. The zest is just basically the outside skin of the orange. It's going to lend some really great flavor, and in baking, it's really the go-to ingredient for a nice citrus kind of taste, especially with the baklava. We're going to do this with a orange and a lemon. Now, another thing that I want to talk to you about when you're doing this is you want to make sure that you're using an organic orange, an organic lemon. That's very important because sometimes the outside of the lemon or the orange is sprayed with pesticides, and the last thing you want to do is start scraping them into your baklava. Now, of course, this orange is still good to use for the inside of its juice, and we may or may not do something with that towards the end of this, but okay, nevertheless, that's one. We got these are our Meyer lemons, organic Meyer lemons, and Meyer lemons have a unique quality and a fragrance that really you could smell these things from 3 aisles away in the grocery store. They don't pop up a lot in many stores. They're more prevalent around the time of the year in summer. We're just going to keep going here. These microplanes are really good. I mean, it's especially if you get one with a handle. That's best. You could use a box grater. You know. I always say in cooking, there are no rules in cooking. You can totally just use what you have in the kitchen. You know, you can even use a knife if you want, and I'll show you that in another show. All right, look, we got everything we need here, and we got some good loving over there too. Make sure you tap this out. Now we have all the stuff in here, and we're going to give it a gentle mix. And the oils that were released from the walnuts are going to help everything adhere to the nuts itself, all the sugar, the salt, the zest. All right, so now first what we're going to do is start with the butter. Right, this is unsalted butter. This recipe calls for butter. Don't use olive oil. I know you're going to have to slip on this one. Next, we're going to roll out our filo dough from Athens. And you want to try to stay with about 3 sheets on the bottom because it's the first, the first kind of application here. And you want to press down. How you know you're good is when you start to see the butter come up through the sheet, you know you need to add 1 more sheet. Now we're going to take the butter again. Next, what we're going to do is take a little bit of the mixture, and this is real easy recipe here, but it tastes so good. All right, that's good. Now we're going to take another 2 sheets. I like to stay with 2 sheets in the middle. Remember, if you go with 2 more, what you're going to find the problem is when it bakes up, it gets too soft and gooey in the middle, and you want this recipe to be crunchy throughout. The only way you can do it is stay with 2 sheets. Don't forget butter between each sheet. The Athens filo dough is just incredible for this. It's so versatile. I mean, you could do a meat pie if you wanted to. Take the walnuts again. And we think we're going to probably get away with one more layer here, folks. All right, so we got 2 more sheets. And we're going to go with the butter again. Real simple recipe. You just got to kind of not forget to put the butter in between. Don't worry about brushing it. I watch a lot of people do this recipe and they worry about brushing. Look, when it's heated up, the butter is just going to go everywhere. It's just the law of gravity. It's a grease. It's going to heat up. It's going to spread. And last, we're going to take one more up like this, pat it down, push it up nice, get the ends tucked in. Let's go one more sheet because I can see the nuts are coming through the filo dough here. Let's just get one more on there. All right, and then we're going to go like this with the butter on top. Butter's nice. You're going to try to get the corners too. What happens is if the corners are not buttered, they just crisp up, they get burnt, they don't cook at the right even temperature. You're going to spread that butter out. And now something important here, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this up. You have to pre-cut it. And what you're going to do is cut it just like this with a sharp knife. Not all the way down. You're going to go about halfway. And I'll explain when this comes out. Because there's no way that you're going to be cutting this when it's hot and expect to keep really nice, diagonal pieces on the filo dough. So make sure you don't go down, and you have to use a really sharp knife for this. This is like one of these dishes you go grab out your new knife or really sharpen your knife up. You're going to see the beauty of this when it comes out. If you have to, you hold your finger down there, no big deal. You notice how my finger's stuck to that? If my finger was dipped in cold water, that wouldn't happen. Okay, good. Place it in an oven. We're going to take this 375 degrees for about 35 minutes, and then we're going to make the syrup and pour it right on. Okay, so now we're going to get started with the baklava sauce. Now the baklava sauce is really just a mixture of hot water, honey. In this case I only use clover honey. I like a clear honey, not dark, nothing flavored, anything like that. And of course our sugar of choice is going to be the 10x confectionery sugar like I mentioned earlier. I don't really like to use granulated sugar. We have some juice of an orange, juice of a lemon, and really that's it. We're going to put everything in here. Let's start off with the honey. Put in our sugar. That'll dissolve very quickly. You don't really have to mix it. All right, now we're going to start with our lemons. Lemon juice really gives it a nice citrus, because you need something to cut through, the filo dough itself and all the sweetness that you have going on with the almonds, and the citrus really break it up nicely. Okay, and always have a strainer here because you want to make sure that you leave out these pits here. Obviously, we don't want that in the baklava. We have our mixture, which is really good. Now we're going to take our mitt. And as you can see, this looks incredible. Wow, and if you just touch it, it's nice and crispy. Now, really the whole thing with the baklava is you obviously want to make sure it's nice and hot. And we're going to pour this syrup all over the top, and you're going to start to see it sizzle all throughout here. It's going to sizzle up. Okay, so we got our mixture. We're just going to go right over the top with it. See that? That's how you make baklava. you're not making baklava, folks. Okay? So what you need to do now at this point is actually leave it sitting out room temperature for 24 hours. I doubt mine is going to last that long, but I'm going to cut a piece open, maybe with a little ice cream. And this, my friends, is baklava using Athens fila dough pastry. You can't beat it. So that's it for the baklava. And like I said, when you add that hot syrup in the pan, you want to make sure to kind of let it sit overnight. I do not put it in the refrigerator. Some people do that. I like to leave it out. It's fine to leave out. Leave it out overnight on the stove. Come back to that baby in the morning with some coffee and you're ready for your day, but only with the Athens fila dough here, my friends, and that's exactly what I'm using. The taste, the quality, the durability is what you're looking for with this. So thank you for watching this fun-filled episode of Taste This TV. I'm your host, Chef Joe Simonera. Remember, there are no rules in cooking. Taste this.